Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for another video today. We have a good one coming up. We are going to be breaking down, previewing, and giving our final prediction for our Big 12 matchup this weekend. We have Kansas State versus Colorado this weekend. Kansas State versus Deion Sanders and his squad. It's going to be a fun one. We will fully break down the game, predict who's going to win, who's going to lose, what the final score will be, and we'll also touch on the money lines, the spreads, and the over-unders. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. If you have any comments about this game or anything else, drop it below and I will respond. Every week we go over every single college football game. We do the money line, spreads, over-unders. We predict the outcomes. We touch on the AP poll. And we also do the same thing for every NFL game as well. If you are a football fan, if you are a sports fan, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed so you can follow along with us this season. Like I said, we're looking at our October 12th matchup. It's a late one. If you are up, definitely make sure to watch this. It's going to be fun TV at 10:15 p.m. on ESPN. Number 18 Kansas State, 4-1. That only lost that thrashing they got from BYU, but they have rebounded since then. They'll be playing the 4-1 Colorado Buffaloes. This game's going to be in the mountains. Price scares Kansas State. Last time they went to the mountains, they got whooped by BYU. Can Colorado do the same thing to Kansas State? Can Kansas State do the same thing that Nebraska did to Colorado? Both teams have formulas that have been set forth for them. Who's worked on what, and can you adapt the same game plan to your scheme? As of right now, Kansas State is a slight favorite. It's practically a 50-50. Kansas State is a 52.1% chance to win this game, voted by the fans. And Vegas has Kansas State as a 4-point favorite. The over-under is 56.5. When I looked at this game last week, I think it was a 6-point. It's been slowly ticking down. I would not be surprised if it keeps ticking down all the way till Saturday night. When you're looking at these two squads, this might sound crazy to say for the non-Colorado fans, but this game decides a lot of the outcome for the Big 12. A lot of people were picking Kansas State to win the Big 12 this season. A lot of people were picking Kansas State to make the playoffs this season. Not the national championship, the playoff. The implications in this game are massive. If Kansas State drops this one, that's their second loss, but it's their second Big 12 conference loss. So they are probably out of play to compete for the Big 12 championship. They're out. The Big 12 is a very deep conference. There's a lot of teams kind of joined up at the top. There's Colorado, Kansas State, UCF, you have Arizona, you have Utah, you have Oklahoma State. There's a lot of teams bunched up there. You don't want two losses just in your conference. That's not even outside of the conference. And then you have Colorado. They have no conference losses right now. Their only loss was to Nebraska, who's a Big 10 team. That has no bearing at all on the Big 12 championship game. Colorado wants to win this game. They could be halfway through the season, no conference losses. That puts you in the driver's seat potentially to have a showdown with someone who could win the Big 12, whether it's potentially playing a Utah or an Iowa State, one of those highly ranked Big 12 teams. Colorado might make the Big 12 championship game if they win this. The road is paved for them going forward. Schedule only gets tougher from this point forward, but use this as a catapult to ride you through the rest of the schedule. Both of these teams, very talented teams, both have great coaches. Both of them play the game differently. So when you look at Kansas State here, you have Avery Johnson at the quarterback position. He's closing in on 900 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's not the most efficient passer. He has his games when he does very well, but this is not a pass-heavy team. This is a run-heavy team. They want to line up with you at the line of scrimmage. They want to run it down your throat. They have a great running back, and they have a quarterback in Johnson, the highest recruited quarterback ever in Kansas State history. When he runs with purpose. Every time he scrambles, it's 15, 20 yards every single pop. He's going to be hard to tackle. He's a pretty big guy, but it's not just him. DJ Giddens at the running back position. He's the top 10 running back in the entire nation right now. Some might say top 5. He's closing in on 700 yards rushing. This guy is a beast. He's hard to tackle. He doesn't have break-end speed, but he's hard to bring down at the line of scrimmage. Gets a lot of yards after the catch, after contact. Great running back, and they have Brown at the wide receiver position. We all know about Colorado's playmakers. They have Shedeur Sanders, one of the best quarterbacks in the whole nation throwing the ball. Some say he's the number 1 overall pick for the NFL draft. He's closing in on 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. That's really good for a pass-focused offense. They have Isaiah as the running back. They don't run the ball basically at all. They have Travis Hunter. There's no need to go into him. Everybody knows the name. He's a two-way player. He plays wide receiver. He plays corner. He's great at both of them. He's closing in on 600 yards. And they also have Horn. Horn's also a great number 2 wide receiver. Multiple weapons that they can push the ball vertically down the field. Both teams approach this game different. Kansas State, they approach the game at the line of scrimmage on the ground. They want to attack you. They want to suck up clock. They want to get physical. They want to win the game based off their physicality. Colorado, not so much. They're more of a finesse type squad, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. They want to run kind of it's not an air raid system, but they're an extremely pass happy spread offense. Nothing wrong with that. They throw the ball a lot. One team runs, one team throws. Kansas State's weakness is they have no pass game. Well, they have a okay pass game, but they're a run-heavy focused team. Colorado has played that type of team before. They played the number 1 rushing team in the nation in UCF at the time, and they beat the crap out of them. So Colorado fans are thinking, we attack this team the same way we attacked UCF, shut down the run game, and they won't be able to have time to push the ball vertically down the field with Johnson. Possibly. That might possibly work. Whereas the other way is Kansas State thinks, well, hey, Nebraska out-physicaled you at the line of scrimmage. They lined up and they ran it down your throat and you couldn't stop them. We're going to do the same thing, and we're going to force Shedeur to have to beat us vertically through the air. Colorado doesn't run the ball. They run the ball a very small amount of times. Kansas State will be perfectly fine to not stack the line. They'll just play zone, load up the secondary, and try to get some turnovers from Shedeur Sanders. Both teams have plausible routes where they can win this game. Looking at the team stats here, Kansas State, they average 31.4. They throw for 185.2. That's not bad. That's not good, but that's not bad. But they run for 252.2, and they run efficiently, sucking up clock. And solid defense. Very solid, well-coached, disciplined defense. They're only giving up 19.6 points a game. They do give up 262.4 pass yards a game. That's not a good sign when this is the best quarterback that they've played so far this week. 2 average quarterbacks, they're giving up almost 270 passing yards. So Shedeur might have a pretty good game passing the ball. But they do shut down the run game. They're only giving up 91.8. Colorado fans might think, well, we don't run the ball anyways, but that just means they're going to get more penetration at the line of scrimmage. They're not even have to worry about the run game. They don't need to bottle up the quarterback. They don't need to keep the running back in the pocket. They just need to get penetration and get to the quarterback, force those errors. When you look at Colorado, these teams are very even scoring-wise. They're averaging 31.0. So Kansas State averages 31.4. They average 31. So it's basically a wash there. They're throwing for 349. They're going to go vertical, and they're going to be throwing bombs nonstop. That's the way that they approach the game. Deion Sanders loved the flashy plays, but they're only running for 80.6 yards. You know, could you win the game running for 80 yards? Yes, but that's not going to get you very deep in the Big 12, especially with the Iowa States, Utah, with Cam Rising. Those teams are so physical on the line. If you have no run game, they're going to hit Shedeur, and they're going to hit him hard. They're going to knock him out. You got to develop a better run game, but Colorado has been playing a lot better rushing the last 2 games. On defense, a much, much improved defense over last season. Last season, they were a complete joke. They were giving up 34 points a game. Much improved through the transfer portal. Props to Deion Sanders. You do see the guys that he brought in are making a difference, particularly on the line of scrimmage on the defensive side. They're giving up 23. They're giving up 232.8 passing yards, but they're giving up 156 rushing yards a game. That bodes well for Kansas State. So things bow well for Colorado passing-wise because Kansas State's secondary is their weakness. Colorado's rush defense is their weakness. That bodes well for Kansas State. That's why I said this is a 50-50 game. I would not be surprised, honestly, if either of these teams won. I don't have a horse in the race. Neither one of these teams are my personal team, but I love college football. I love watching both teams. I love rooting for both teams. I just want the best team to win, and I want to have a good game. And I think either of these teams can win, but you're going to put yourself in the position going forward in the Big 12, potentially in the driver's seat right there with Utah and with Iowa State. At the end of the day, I have Kansas State winning a close one, 31-27. that would be a push, and I'm going with the under, but I do see both of those lines coming down by the time that we get to game day. If Colorado wins this one 31-27, I would not be surprised at all. I don't personally want to go anywhere near betting on this game because I have faith in both of these teams to win this one. It's going to be a close one, but it's going to be really fun for us fans. That's our breakdown. That's our prediction for the Kansas State Colorado game. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. If you have any comments on this game or any other one, drop it below and I will respond. Thanks for watching.